You know, there's nothing like being in the green room. Although we do have some green today because Norm has, it looks like at least a green shirt on. Very, as close to green as I think we've ever had on the show, by the way. So I'm officially now in the green room. At least on camera it looks green. But you know, Norm, as I like to talk and we're behind the scenes, if I read this bio, I would be here for the entire show. Probably a couple shows, by the way. So do me a favor if you would, my friend. Take a moment. Tell everyone who is Norm. And really, what are you up to these days, man? That's the important part.
Well, Norm is a guy who gets tired of having other people in control of his life. And so what he does is, or what I did was, I just created a lifestyle and a business where I was really the center of it, showcasing my talents with my audience and with my clients. And so I'm always looking for ways that I can use my talents, but also help other people while I'm doing it. Make some money while I'm doing it, make sure I have a great time. And right now, what I'm really doing is probably sitting back like most of us, but I'm looking and paying attention, seeing the opportunities that are going to appear, because that's how I started. I was looking around and I saw a couple of opportunities and boom, that's what put me on my path. I have just done very well at it and have been lucky enough to find something I can make a living at and enjoy at the same time. So that's who I am, and that's how I ended up where I am, is just making sure I got to do what I wanted to do.
Wow, making sure you got to do what you want to do. You know, with that being said, take a moment for those folks that are just tuning in and they're looking at this topic. What can they expect Norm to kind of talk about? What's the discussion going to be about tonight? Cutting edge? What's all that about?
Yeah, I think what you're going to hear is my perspective, obviously, on how you can have, I think, the life you want, or the life you're chasing after. And it may not sound like the traditional route that other people have suggested or you've gone to get direction. And I just want to give an alternative to another way of finding success and making sure that this joy you're looking for, you're not missing in the process. And so I'm just going to share some things that I have found that worked for me and have put me in a different category than other people. And so I kind of like that. And I figure if it works for somebody else, then that's a great thing for me and for them.
You know, Norman, there's been so many changes in the world these days, if I can say that. I mean, obviously, COVID-19 has wreaked havoc on a lot of folks. It has also created so many opportunities. I think there's going to be some big losers during this time. There's going to be some huge, just incredible winners. Take a moment, if you would, and talk about how this has impacted your business. And more importantly, what type of conversation are you having with your colleagues during these times?
Well, I'd hate to say that there are losers in this business right now. If you adapt to what's going on, then it doesn't have to be a losing proposition for you. I think that's probably the first thing I am telling my clients is when they look at their business, they're thinking some part has been wiped out. And what I tell them is, how can you adapt that? Is there a new opportunity that's going to come from this? I mean, restaurants, and I used to own one, is a great example. They will, when this is over, have another income stream with takeout. And now they may have had takeout before, but I guarantee when they look at the amount of money they're creating now, they will realize, you know what, we can keep this going once this is over. And so my clients that are receptive, I'm telling them, you haven't lost anything yet. You may want to look and see if you can adapt and make some changes so that you're not reinventing, starting over, but more about adjusting. And that's the conversations we're having.
Yeah, but what's the biggest challenge today for folks that are looking to adapt? I mean, that know they need to do it, but for whatever reason, they still aren't taking that step. What's holding most people back from adapting?
I think they're frazzled. I think right now, one of the things you want to do is and of course, this is a lifestyle, the way you handle stress and things like that. But I know that if you pay attention to what's going on in the news, listen to other people, you're going to feel like you've got to do stuff right now. And what I know is it's a great time for you to sit back, pay attention, and observe what's going on and see what's working and what's not working and what you can do and what you can't do. And so what's holding them back, I think, is trying to get it done now, today. Depending on your income, and if you're getting assistance from the government, you're thinking when unemployment runs out, what's going to happen. And if you think about this all the way through, they'll and this is my perspective, of course, there's going to be another level of support. Either the businesses will open or the government will have to step in. So until that happens, you can try to predict, but I think what you want to do is start planning for either option and doing it in a calm manner so that you're not making bad decisions, that you're not reacting over something that you think might happen. And so you've spent all this energy creating a solution or a plan for something that never came because you didn't have enough information. So my clients, what I'm telling them is, let's take this slow now. Let's pay attention and let's look at what we know and what we don't know, and then react from that.
I like it. Take attention. Leo Steger is out there, says, what's up? Mr. Hole, he's out there watching right now. Samuel, my man Samuel up in New York, New York. So nice they named it twice. Angela Anderson, it's a pleasure. Robert Antonio, my man. We got to get you on the show, Robert, man. You keep hiding from me. I got to connect with you, my man. Sean Bryce is watching right now. Look, we got to get going in 5, 4, 3. We got a real show. And we come back, you're going to hear from the one and only, the man himself, Norman. He will change your life and your business if you let him. We'll be back in just a moment. It's time. Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to inspire. Our mission is to empower. And our mission is really provide you, that's right, you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that huge vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And I believe, by the way, you have 3 visions that I love to share. And I want to remind you of this. I believe first, you have a vision for yourself, the way you want to live, the car you want to drive when you get back to driving again, right? The food you want to eat. I know it's all organic. I get that. And it takes resources, which means it takes revenue. And then for some of you out there, I believe you have vision number 2. You have a vision for your loved ones. I just got a chance to come back from San Antonio, my second home, and I'm out there and my in-laws are there. My mom is back here in Alexandria. She's still here. I love her so much. And it takes resources because mother likes to order things online, which is kind of cool, right? Of course, when they're using your credit card, mother is probably watching. Mwah, mother, you know I love you, by the way. But it takes resources, which means revenue. Some of you want to write a check for someone's mortgage right now, a check for someone's health care insurance right now. It takes resources, which means it takes revenue. That's the fact. And the third vision you have, and it's probably the most important vision I believe that you have, is you have a vision for the people you were called to serve. And my favorite analogy is, imagine for a moment you're Noah. You're in the Bible, right? Noah's a story in the Bible, whether you're a believer or not. I happen to be a believer. But imagine you're Noah, and right before you're ready to get started, you get this knock at the door, like, what's going on? Excuse me, Noah, pardon me, sorry about that. I just don't mean to disturb you, but there are no nails in the house. No nails? Look, I don't panic, Chelsea. Ain't no nails. I don't worry, Sean. Sorry, Noah, pardon. Gotta bother you one more time. There's no hammers either. No hammer, no nails. Rule number 1, don't panic. What is going on around here? Excuse me, Nora. Last time, there's no wood, and we're looking around and there's no team to put the boat together. Good luck on this vision. And maybe that's you right now. You've got a big heart. You've got the purpose. You've got the passion, but you don't have the resources to leave that 9 to 5. You don't have the resources to hire the people you want. but you want to be on the cutting edge. This morning, this evening, I'm going to welcome the one and only that's going to help you with that, Norm Hall. What's up, Norm? How are you?
How are you?
Man, we are moving in the fast lane. We got the pedal to the metal. Look, I just want to jump right into it. You came up with this topic, cutting edge, like in an already sharp world. Take a moment and unpackage that for us so everyone that's watching kind of understands what you were thinking about, my man.
Well, with every crisis, there is always opportunity. And there are those people who will look around and see it, seek it out, pay attention, observe so that they can make the most of it. And there are those who will sit there and react and wonder what is going on. And what you have to realize is that now with the internet, with access to all kinds of resources, everybody is sharp when it comes to creating their own business. Anybody can find someone to do a website. Anyone can find somebody to design something for them. Access to the people and the resources so that you can be successful is only a couple of clicks away. And so we are all sharp. And if we are not, we can pretend just by Googling it and looking up and finding something that will make us seem like we're sharp. So what do you need to do to keep up with those people who are playing in that game? And so one of the things I've learned is that those people who we will say are your competitors keep you always on the move, looking for something to beat them, to out hustle them, to get more clients. And for some, that's one way to operate. And then for others, being sharp also means you don't want to play the same game that they're playing. You don't want to follow the same path. And so one of the things I want us to think about, that in a sharp world, sometimes being dull is the best way to get ahead. And that's the way I think I will have been approaching things, is not trying to follow everybody else who are doing the really cool things. And the cool things, if they're lasting, if they're long term, they're not really going to be cool things. They're going to be things that keep your business or company running, not because they're cool, but because they're really based in some strong foundational skills or principles. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say sharp. Sharp not necessarily means you have to be on the cutting edge where you're going to hurt somebody, but sharp enough to realize what will work and what will not work when everyone else is chasing after these resources and skills with the tools available.
I love it. You talked about principles, especially during these times. Take a moment for the person that's watching right now. They're listening. You got Franz Condi. What's up, Franz? Is in the house. Rob Henson. Thanks a lot, Rob, for joining. Jeff Atlas says, hey, what's going on, by the way? He's out there watching right now. And your brother says, hey, brother. Your brother must be watching right now. Somebody says, hey, brother. Assuming that's your brother. Have the same last name. May not be. But folks that are tuned. Huh?
He's the smart one. He's got his PhD.
Oh, he's the smart. Okay. So the people all over the world that are tuning in right now, they might want to know, okay, Shay, you talked about principles. First question they may have is, what are 3 things that someone needs to do in order to even be cutting edge? Like if you had to say, hey, here's step 1, or here's step 2, or here's step 3, so they can at least get themselves going so they can be cutting edge.
Sure.
What would your response be?
Yeah, my first one would be stop following everybody else. And what I mean, I'll give you an example, is let's use customer experience. Everyone's always worried about what is going to be the experience of my customer when they come into my business. And so we like to use that as the defining rod of what determines if we're really doing a good job. And you and I know, and probably most of you watching this know, that customer experience is so transactional. It's so situational. It takes place in a moment. And even if I give you great customer experience, a customer experience right now, you come back tomorrow in a bad mood, and I did everything I did today, but tomorrow you'll rip me on Yelp. And what you've done is use customer experience as your defining rod, as your gauge. And cutting edge would say, instead of talking about customer experience, what's the transformation we can provide for our customer when they work with us? How are they going to be different when they're done interacting with us or using our services? And if they have a transformation take place that's lasting, that's impactful, now it's not an experience that's transactional based on providing it today. So I'll give you an example to make that real. A couple of years ago, you may have seen it. Just Google it. It's on the internet someplace. So you know it has to be true. But a plane ran off the runway in Turkey, I believe. And there was a picture of the plane sitting on the side of the hill. And everybody talked about how lucky they were and what kind of experience they had. And that's my great example of experience, because those people who were on that plane, they had an experience where the plane went off the edge and they thought they were going to die. Now, that's a customer experience. Is that what we want to provide for people who are going to do work with us and buy our services? No. Now, if we were to look at it differently, and this is the cutting edge part, what is the transformation that took place when that plane went over the side but didn't go into the ocean and people survived? Those people who survived and left the plane, I guarantee life just became more valuable. They called the people who were important to them. They probably didn't complain as much when they went to the restaurant where the food wasn't the greatest. They had a transformation. So when you're looking at providing services, especially as an entrepreneur, don't get caught up in the experience. Get caught up in how do we create a transformation for people who buy our services so that it's lasting and it can't be copied by somebody else. And that's the first thing I would tell you, is how do you differentiate your services from somebody else? The second thing, and this is probably...
And before you get the second thing, if we can, Norm, you gave us step number one. Do me a favor. One of the ways that you all can participate here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show is we believe in the giver's economy. The person that outgives the competition out-earns the competition. I'm sure Norm is okay with this. So you can do this and pay this message forward. Norm will change your life if you let him. How do you do that? Hit the share button right now. See the button right there? Hit the watch party button right now. And when you hit that button, when you share it to your page, or you share it to a group, or you share it to another network, write these words: stay sharp and cutting edge with hashtag Norm Hull, Hull. Norm Hall, like I said, Norm Hall. Sorry about that. So put stay sharp and on cutting edge with hashtag Norm Hall, Hull. Do that right now. And why would you want to do that? Because there may be another entrepreneur that's watching that doesn't know this is going on right now. There might be a single mom, a single dad, a married couple, someone out there that's doing really, really well, but they're wondering how can they do better? And someone else out there that's thinking, wow, there has to be another way. And Norm right now is sharing his view on the world, and he's here to give. So you hit that button right now. Thank every single one for sharing that. We appreciate it. You're changing someone's life. All right, Norm, as they're sharing it right now, go ahead and share number 2 and number 3 that you were sharing with us.
Yeah, I think number 2 is to be an intelligence agent. And what I mean by that is there is so much learning that's going to take place anytime you open your eyes. And what I mean that, how I apply that for me is I put on my own annual events. And in fact, we've got one starting in 2 days. And I've done it for the last 29 years. And I didn't go to a school to learn about how to do it. As a speaker, I have been invited to thousands of events where I'm the keynote or breakout person. And every time I went to provide a presentation, I paid attention to what was going on in the room, the registration process, the meals, the setup, everything, just to know, 1, how it worked, 2, if I wanted to do this, could I do it? And there are a lot of times when you will look at something or leave something and go, I could have done that better. That's not the way I would run it. Well, that's great to have, but you also have to have the skills to do that. And you can either find it in a book, but I will tell you the best information is when you actually see it in action. And so I would tell you to think about every time you go outside, think of yourself as an intelligence agent, somebody who's collecting information that you can use, not for some clandestine agency, shout out to who you know, my friends, but to use in your own life. And that simply means when you watch, you're going to learn and you're going to observe. And you can ask questions if you want, but as an entrepreneur, as someone running a business, you always need to be paying attention. You need to be paying attention to what's going on right now in our country, in our society, in the world, because there are opportunities left and right. They're talking about schools going back in the fall. Well, that means you're going to need sanitizer. You're going to need a way to check people. Whoever owns stock in a thermometer company, you've got to be happy right now, because thermometers, something we toss out, take for granted, are worth their weight in gold if you can find them. So pay attention, and pay attention not just going on right now, but try to look a little bit forward and see, 3 months from now, if we reopen, what's going to be needed? So think of yourself as an intelligence officer or agent is the second thing I always tell other people. Pay attention.
I love that. Number 2, pay attention. That means right now, every single one of you who are tuning in right now, look right below the video, and write, pay attention. Because Norm's giving his best right now. Just look right below the video, and write those words, pay attention. Norm didn't ask for a Cash App payment before he got started, by the way. He said, Shay, I came to serve, and to add value. And that's what he's doing. So for everyone out there like Destiny Robbins, thanks for joining in. Daryl Miller, good to connect with you once again. Appreciate you so much out there. Hey, Mita out there from down in Florida, Lisa, Yvette Jones, and all of you who are tuning in right there. We really appreciate you so much. Hit the share button, hit the watch party button, pay this message forward. Norm didn't know what he was going to talk about, but he's now giving us 3 golden nuggets. This is like a master class right now. All right, Norm, give us number 3, my man. Because we're all paying attention.
Number 3, and this is, I think I'm still working on this one.
Okay.
But go from bitter to better to bitter. And what I mean by that is, as an entrepreneur, there have been lots of times when we have been slighted, or in business you didn't get the promotion, or somebody you trust stabbed you in the back, or didn't deliver, or there are lots of things that will make you bitter. And I know I've got a long list like everybody else. And the challenge is to not get caught in that bitterness, and to think about, how do I go from being bitter to being better? And one of the things I would encourage anybody to do as an entrepreneur is, those people who are your clients who badmouth you, who don't seem to work with you well, who don't like your service, instead of being bitter about them, think about how you can be better and serve them better. Can you change some of your rules that you are stuck in? Can you add a little bit more to the plate so they feel like they're getting more than they paid for? Can you let somebody slide? One of the great things about the airlines, for those of us who have flown a long time, 25 years ago, it was amazing what we could get away with, because the customer service rep would upgrade us, would give us a drink, would slide us a meal, not because they were trying to be slick. It was because they were being nice. And the funny thing about that is, because that has gone away, there are lots of us who fly who are bitter. So for an airlines, all the airlines to get better, they need to take care of that bitterness. Because when you are down and out, you're going to need us as support. So in your own business, if you're going to be bitter, your clients won't stay around. They won't come back. So look at, how do you get better and move from that bitterness? And then when you have gotten better and you're working on it, think about the clients you have who are bitter towards you. And then go back after them, whether you need to apologize, give them something. They may never return, but what you want them to do is to get that taste out of their mouth. Now, I will say this. I know there are plenty of people I have on my list that I'm bitter about, but I also know that I'm probably on the list of other people who are bitter about me. And so as I go through the last chapter, the last act of my life, my goal is to take those people who are on my list and see how I can go to better and be the better person and be the better entrepreneur, be the better consultant, be the better family person. And so that's what I would tell you, because making money, I'm not against that, but I also know that my soul, I have to be happy in that process. And my friends who know me know there are moments when I'm bitter from what has happened, and I always am trying to move forward. So as an entrepreneur, when it doesn't go your way, especially my friends in the travel agency right now, in the travel world, who might be bitter about what's going on, they know things are going to get better. But they also know people who were planning on taking a trip might be a little bit bitter about the trip they didn't get. So they're going to have to do a better job next time of telling them, hey, it's going to be all the things you dreamed of. So don't let that bitterness prevent you from traveling. Don't let that bitterness prevent you from going after the client you think you lost, because you'll feel better doing it. I know the people I'm making amends with, I feel better as not just a person, but as a consultant, as a person who's trying to make the world be better.
So well said, man.
Go from bitter to better to bitter.
Man, that is so well said. You know, as they're listening to you right now out there, what's going on, Debbie Barr, and so many folks. Angela Copeland is tuned in right now. Joanne Mode is in, and so many folks that are watching right now. They might be curious, like, God, this guy got it all together. Cutting edge, stay sharp. He's just a natural at this. Do you mind? I know we didn't talk about this, but do you mind maybe sharing a time throughout your journey, maybe as an entrepreneur, where things didn't go the way you wanted them to go? And for whatever reason, there was this setback. And what I guess our question really is, what's the lesson you learned and the principle that you applied that we can take away with as well? If that's happened. If it's never happened, just say, hey, Shay, life's been cool for me.
It's never happened. Everything has been perfect. You know what? Those who are my friends, they know this. I had a restaurant, fine dining restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And opened in 2007. Fine dining in my town, which didn't have one. And a year later, it was gone because of the recession. And in that process, I learned a lot about people. I learned about what looks easy. I learned about what was really important to me. Because in the process of running a restaurant, and anyone who is in that business, it is everything they said it is. It is hard as heck. Make a little bit of money. You'll start to dislike people after a while, but it was full of great adventures, great stories, great experiences. And what it taught me in that moment when we all collectively said we're done was that, you know what? It feels like it was a failure, but more importantly, I had so many people telling me and the people who were part of it, I can't believe you did it. You actually did it. You opened it up. You said you wanted to do it, and you did it. And the fact that it didn't last, they could care less. The fact that it actually was open, we designed it, we made it wonderful. The food was great. The fact that it actually took place is what they looked at. But for me, I was upset because it didn't work. And reality was it was poor timing. And we could have poured more money in it. Well, we didn't have any, and I didn't want to. But I've learned, and even before that, but I've learned that every time it doesn't work out, whether it's a restaurant or an animal hospital or a health food store, which we've all owned or had in the past, and they were run well. But anytime something hasn't worked out, I look for the lesson. Because when I find the lesson, it helps me for the next adventure. And it also lets me see that this was just one way to learn something. And I could have learned it in a book, which is nice but boring, or I could learn it through an experience that I can probably transfer. It's given me plenty of stories to use with my clients, plenty of lessons to use in my sessions with my CEO clients. When I talk about that, they don't look at it as a loss or a failure. They look at it as experience. And when I tell them it was an experience, let me tell you what I learned from it. That's when they say, we want to keep working with you. And so for any of you who have tried something, and I say, keep trying and keep trying. If it doesn't work, keep trying, because guess what? As long as you learn from each one of those experiences, the next one might be the one that works out a lot better for you. And so the restaurant will always be the major one that comes to mind, because it just involves so many people, so many friends and family members who supported it and realized it was something that was gorgeous, just took place the wrong time. So I would just tell you, fail fast, learn from it, and use it for the next adventure.
First of all, thanks a lot for sharing, man. I admire you for putting even starting the restaurant business and the lesson that you learned. We can all walk. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but you did it, man. So congratulations to you. You know, one of the core mantras we have here, one of the core values we have here, I don't know if you know this, Norm, at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, is that today is my January 1st. It's one of our core values that we don't wait for that magical date on the calendar. That's not what we wait for. We create a January 1 moment every time we get to make a decision. And for those folks that know what segment I'm about to go into, you can look right below the video. And if you believe that this is your year, you believe that this is your month, that no matter what's going on, this is your time, look right below the video and write these words. Today is my January 1st. Today is my January 1st. And for those folks who want to know what in the LL Cool J is Shay Brown talking about, today is my January 1st represents one of those moments throughout the day. And there's probably 1,000 moments where you can make a decision, and that decision could forever change the trajectory of your life. So you make a decision that you're going to work out because you got plenty of time now, or you sit back and you binge watch and you decide you're going to watch Netflix. That's a January 1st moment. You make a decision you're going to eat hamburgers and french fries, a little salt and pepper. Got to have some ketchup. I get that. Some hot sauce on there. Or you go open up the refrigerator and inside there's some broccoli. I'll have some of that. There's some kale. I'll have some of that. Some carrots. Oh, this is great. That's a January 1st moment. So my question to you, Norm, as folks are writing today is my January 1st, my question to you is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what goes through your mind?
I think for me, I have spent my entire speaking career not following what everybody else has done. Don't have a website with my name on it. I own the domain. I'm not big on demo videos for speaking. And I've chosen that path on purpose. But because it's January 1st and because I like to grow and learn, my January 1st is to look and see if any of the tools being used by people who've taken the traditional way will enhance my business, will enhance my life, will enhance the life of my family. And what I realized is that my message is great. And you know, because you've been in a couple of sessions where I do my deal. And I think I'm really good at it. But I also think the world needs to see it. And the only way they can see it is if I play in the framework that allows me to do that. So because it's my January 1st, it's like I decided a bit ago to create my own video video series that will go out to the world and not with the
congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Type of, hire me because you see this, but because the message will resonate with the right people and they will say, whatever he's pushing or selling or talking about, I want to know more about. And because I think right now the world is in a transitional place. I mean, we are learning a whole lot. Stuff we don't want to learn, stuff that some of us knew already, some great information that people need to know but are resisting or just don't think they can handle at this moment. But now is the time for all of us, for any of us, to take what is inside and will make the world a better place and share it. And I have been selfish, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, sharing it with a limited amount of people, just because I think I was in that bitter place for a while and was fearful that maybe somebody would take and run with it. Well, as you get older, get more gray hair, and you start to realize you only have a certain amount of time, it's kind of like, let me make sure this doesn't die within me. And so my January 1st is taking my message and putting it on a bigger platform that will allow it to be shared, not just in our country, but in the world. And granted, nobody may ever see what I produce, but it doesn't matter. I will be able to say, I did it. And that is what we all want as an entrepreneur is to say, I did it. It may not have worked out the way I wanted, but I did it. And if you don't do it, you'll never know. And so that would be my January 1st.
I believe number one, today is your January 1st, Norm, and folks are going to see it. I believe today is your January 1st, and you're going to touch more lives than you ever would have touched before. And I believe today is your January 1st. You're building your media empire, which is a legacy that you will leave behind. For everyone that believes that today is Norma's January 1st, for folks out there like Joanne Moults, who put today as my January 1st, Destiny Robbins, who puts today as my January 1st, Cindy, who put today as my January 1st, Angela Copeland, so many folks who are putting it.
And Leo, all of you.
Who are putting today as my January 1st. Go ahead and look right below the video and say, Norm, you got this. Just put, Norm, you got this. That's like the bat signal. That's the bat signal.
That's right.
That's the bat signal that Norm he's got this thing, and I'm telling you right now, he's going to touch more lives. So let's all give Norm a digital applause. And how do you do that? Just look right below the video. Look right below the video and put "Thank you, Norm," or "Norm, you got this." Those are words that will go with him. Huh?
I said, I'll take it.
He'll take it. Those are words go with him long after this is gone, because today is his January 1st. He gets a fresh start, a do-over. His past opens up to a whole new future. Why? My dad used to say, the future, Che, is spotless. And that's so true for him as well. All right, so Norman, here's the question I have for you. What was your January 1st moment? People want to know that you decided you were going to be an entrepreneur. Like, I know there's probably a lot of moments throughout time, but what was one of those moments that you said, you know what? I'm going to plant my flag. I'm going to draw a line in the sand, and I'm going to do the doggone thing. Like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Do you mind sharing that with us? And as you're doing that, by the way, Athea says, thank you so much. She's out there watching right now. Shauna Carter says, Norm's always got this, by the way. Destiny Robbins, who's out there in California, said, don't worry, you got this, my man. You got it. Anyway, what was your January 1st moment?
Yeah, and it's a great story. When I was younger, all of 17, I got my first job. And I'm a military brat. Dad was in the Air Force, and that's why I stay connected to the defense world, is that it was as a dishwasher. And my first day in, I went in, and it was at the officers club, and they put me in a little room and said, here are the dishes. They're going to come in through this window, and you wash them, and you clean them, and then you put them over here. And I was doing this all by myself, and obviously I'm an extrovert pretty much most of the time. I was doing the dishes for about an hour, and I realized, one, I'm by myself. Two, I was the president of my high school. And I'm looking going, this is the best I can do. And I realized I was not going to survive at that job. And so I went into the guy who was the boss, and I said, look, I don't think I can do this. I really can't. And he said, oh, I understand. Not too many people can deal with being by themselves. And I said, thanks for understanding. And he said, okay, well, if you can just last out the week. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm leaving now. I can't do this. And he said, well, could you just stay to the end of the shift? And I said, I will try. I'll stay till after the dinner rush. And after the dinner rush came, I left, and I never went back. And I realized at that moment that I could not work for somebody else, because I would always think I'm smarter, I'm better, I can do it a different way. This is not using my talents. And the other times when I've ever worked for somebody, it has never worked out well for me. And that was, from that point on, I knew I was going to be in front of an audience. I was going to help somebody else see their talent so that they would never be washing dishes when they could be doing something more. Now, the funny thing is, the universe has a way of humbling us. When the restaurant was ending, the last couple of days before we shut it down, the dishwasher didn't show up. So somebody had to do the dishes. And of course, nobody wanted to do it. So I said, I'm an owner, I'll do it. I had a shirt and tie on. I went back there, started doing the dishes, put in my earphones, and I realized, this is great. I'm doing the dishes. Nobody can bug me. I can't hear. I'm in my little room. And so I loved it. The next night, of course, the dishwasher didn't show up. And the first night, the staff had seen me having a great time. So the second night, they said, I'll do it. I'll do the dishes. And I said, no. I'm going to do the dishes. And so the last 3 nights of the restaurant, I did the dishes, and I was happy, because I was in my head thinking about it. But I also know that God has a sense of humor, because here I am doing the dishes and appreciating it and enjoying it. But the fact was, I was doing that and appreciating it because I owned the place. And that was my lesson about, if you can't do something, what's the lesson you're going to take from it? I can do dishes anytime if it's my place. And so that was when I decided, back doing those dishes. And it sounds like a silly story, but it is so clear to me. That was the moment when I decided it won't work. I don't care how many zeros you put at the end of the check. I don't think I could be the person you want me to be.
Wow.
And so
I love how authentic you are, man. Thanks so much for sharing. For those folks that are out there, do me a favor. Hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. I'm going to ask Norma a very important question about being consistent. So as he's sharing right now how you can be on the cutting edge, he's sharing how you can remain sharp. Hit the share button right now. Hit the watch party button right now. Pay this message forward to another person that's out there. When you see that little box come up, go ahead and write a little comment in that box. Just put stay sharp and on cutting edge with hashtag Norm Hall, Hull. Do that right now. Pay this message forward. Let's bless someone else that's out there. Let's not hold this to ourselves. Let's give to other folks. We believe in add value and add value. Norm, folks out there, they were writing today is my January 1st. They are excited. They are ecstatic. Cindy Evans says, thank you so much. She's out there. Michelle Cannon says, this is her January 1st. Linda, what's up? Linda Hustler, who's out there right now. Laura's out there watching. So many folks. And they're excited like they were back on December 31st. After a couple of drinks on the back of a napkin, they were writing down their New Year's resolutions. For some of you, that turned out really, really well. And congratulations. And for others, you're like, Shay, I don't even know what New Year's resolutions I wrote down. I don't even remember those doggone things. And it wasn't too long ago. So my question, which is a very important question for myself, it's for myself and, the 10,000 listeners that are eavesdropping on this conversation right now.
Just between you and I.
Yeah, it's between you and I, man. You, me, and these fiber optic lines. My question is, how do you remain consistent? What is your message to help people hashtag stay the course? You've heard before, consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Yet, what do most folks struggle with most? My hand is raised. Consistency. Talk to us about being consistent.
Yeah, I think for me, what helps make me consistent or helps me stay grounded is what's around me. And understanding that for my lifestyle, and this is going to sound pompous, and that's not my intent. I made a commitment to go golfing every Friday with my brother and nephew and some friends. Why? Because I lost a brother a year ago. I didn't spend as much time with him as I wanted and should and needed. And so I've got 2 of them left and plenty of other brothers from different mothers, Leo, Dave, and Alan, and love you to death. And what I know is for me to have that freedom to go golfing every Friday, I need to have income that makes that happen. I've got a dad who lives with me I take care of. And I know for me to not have to travel, and he's 87, and to make sure he's always going to be taken care of while he's still breathing, I need to create a system that generates income or allows us to be okay. And so anytime I'm slacking off, all I need to do is walk into his room and see him and go, I'm his guy. And I need to be his guy for anything. And that means for me to be able to be home to take care of him, I need to make sure that I'm creating something that generates income for me to stay home or to travel less. And so that is how I stay consistent, is I've got enough visual things around me to remind me. Because writing it down on a list someplace, that's nice. But when it's live and moving around you, my family, my grandkid, those things are great motivators for me. And all you have to do, and those of you, especially now during these times, if you have lost somebody and you didn't have a chance to touch them, to say goodbye, you know how important these people are to us. And so as an entrepreneur, most of us start down this track because we want the freedom to be close to the people who are close to us. We want the freedom to golf every Friday or to art. I love painting. These are things I've been working on. So to have that happen, you've got to have the system that allows you to do that. And the one last thing I'll tell you, not last, but one thing I will tell you that goes hand in hand is that and my friends know, I have had plenty of toys. I have had the nice house and all that stuff, and it's great, but it can't bring my brother back. It can't give more days to my dad. And what you need to understand is it's amazing what you can live without and what you can't live without. And so when you figure out what that is, then you'll realize, okay, what is going to make me internally happy may not be based on something external. And when you figure that out, your plan will appear. And the cool thing is, it will be your plan. One of the things I tell my clients is stop letting other people define success for you, because they're your judges and they will be critical of everything you do or don't do. You know, another piece of that is to stop quoting everybody else. You want to be successful, stop quoting everybody else. Create your own quotes to live by and have somebody start quoting you. That's how you start having the life you want, having the business you want. And I'm not saying the other quotes that other people have aren't great, but you know what? It comes from their experience. That's why they came up with the quote. So you've got experience. What's your quote that you want to leave on the world? What are you doing right now? In fact, anyone watching this, I guarantee you could sit down right now and write 5 quotes on your experience that would help other people be better at being a family member, being a business person. And so, you know, that's the thing I would tell you to think about is, what can you live without? What's success for you? Stop letting others judge you and decide if you're successful or not. And being able to live without gives you so much freedom. I love fast cars. I love good food. But I love rice and beans. I love driving, and I'm used to driving my dad's PT Cruiser. But what you can live with will define what you will chase.
Yeah, so well said. You know, for folks out there listening, they may be curious, Norm, what type of clients do you work with? Who's the ideal type of client or organization for Norm? And number 2, how can they best get in contact with you if they want to stay in this conversation over and beyond today? Because there's so much more than Norm, and we would be here for several episodes. But take a moment, if you would, tell them, you know, the ideal client you work with. So maybe it's you. As you're watching, you might say, oh, my gosh, he's speaking directly to me. Or maybe you know of someone else, or maybe you know of an organization that could benefit. So I'm going to let Norm kind of share who he's looking to work for and how you can best contact them.
At this stage of my life, what I found who are my ideal clients are those who want to make the world better. And when I say the world, it's the world they enter when they walk into their office and they look at their people. And they realize that those people are more than dollar signs and lines on their budget. They're people who will say, how do I create an experience for those people who are with me on this journey, that when it's over or when they go through it, they're going to look at me and smile and say, I'm the luckiest person to work here. And so usually it starts off with the CEOs and executive teams. And what usually happens is then they want to look at how they can expand that message with their people. And anyone in the corporate world knows, they're going to bring you in to fix those people. And what I tend to say is, hey, let's get this team together first and get us straight, because whatever happens to them comes from here. And so lately it's been associations and companies that have executives who are trying to look for a different way to have their employees be happy and stay. Because right now people know they can go find a job where they're going to get paid a couple dollars more. But if it isn't a happy environment, not just because we get Fridays as casual Friday, but because you're treated and respected as a person for your ideas and talents, those seem to be the clients I have been getting lately. But what I know is, if it's a good adventure and I'm a good fit and I can help move the needle and have people be better when it's over, then I always say, let's have a conversation, because maybe there's something you think you're looking for. It's an apple. And after we have a conversation, it's really an orange. the apple is just what you're looking for because everybody else says that's what you should look for, when really you're looking for an orange. And so I have found most of in fact, as I said earlier, I don't have a website, don't have a demo video. My clients have been by referral. Somebody has told them, you got to get this guy, bring him in or have a conversation. And I have been blessed to have that type of business. And so I would tell you, it usually starts with a conversation somebody else is having about what I did. And if you don't have that connection because you're not in that circle, then, I would tell you, let's have a conversation. And I'll tell you right off if I'm a good fit, because if I'm not, I don't want to be there with you and taking your money. I don't want to be there because it's not a good situation for me. And you all know that I don't do well with dishwashing, so I have no problem saying this isn't going to work for us. So that's what I would tell you. But anyone who's working with a group of people and you want to see them be better, do better, feel better, and have an opportunity to create transformations in their clients or staff, then we're a good fit.
I love it, man. I love it. That rocks. I'm going to suggest you all connect with Norm. I'm going to ask him in a second, what's his number one secret to success? Like, of all the ideas he's learned, he's probably learned, 10,000 plus ideas over the course of his lifetime, maybe 100,000 ideas. If he had to pick one, which is very hard to do, I'm getting a moment. Can y'all tell that? It's very hard to do. But if he had to pick one, what would it be? Because we're about to go into a segment called Rapid Fire. For those folks that are just joining for the very first time, welcome all of the new folks out there. Make sure you connect with us, hit the like button, follow us on Facebook. For the regular folks, this is Rapid Fire. And Rapid Fire is when I get to ask Norm a question. It's whatever question pops top of my mind, and he has 2 minutes or less to answer the question. That's right, 2 minutes or less. No, I heard you. You said you like the less better? Okay, I'm with you. I'm following. Norm, they said they like the less better, by the way, like the less better. So my first question in all seriousness is, what's your number one secret to success?
It's turning my anger into action. There are lots of times when I've been slighted, when somebody has passed me over, didn't pick me, whatever. Instead of getting mad at them, I'm like, okay, what can I create that will have them see that they made a mistake or will serve that market? And so my number one key is to look at what drives you and turn that into something that is positive and puts you out there in a way that somebody realizes, I missed out on their talents. And because it's real easy to wallow in anger and pity and, oh, they didn't pick me, versus, wow, boy, did they blow it. I'm going to go create something that competes against them, and they're going to see how big a mistake that was. And so I will tell you, everything I've ever, or most of the things I've created, and these are program-wise, it usually comes from I felt in that moment that somebody thought I was less than. And there are lots of people in our country who have felt that way, whether they're people of color, gender. And so instead of being or getting stuck there, use it and help others see what they missed out on. So that's what I would tell you.
I love it. For those folks that are out there just tuning in, please hit the share button. Hit the watch party button. Like right now, pay this message forward. Norm has one goal, like we have one goal, and that is to serve and then give value. And boy, is he giving value right now that will change your life. So hit the watch party button, hit the share button. When you do that, write those words, stay cutting edge with, I keep changing up, don't I? But stay cutting edge with hashtag Norm Hole. We appreciate that. Shout out to Jennifer Sandorski, who's watching right now. Michelle Cannon, thanks for tuning in. Craig Talley, my good brother out in Baltimore, Maryland. Karen Crockett Cherry that's on here. So many folks that are tuning in. Certainly we appreciate every single one of you that are watching. Norm, the next question I have of all the lessons you've learned, you've had so many mentors along this journey of life. If you had to pick one mentor, one lesson you learned from a mentor. Now, you don't have to tell a name if you don't want to, but one lesson you pick from a mentor, because you only got 2 minutes or less. What's the one lesson that you're going to share with us that can help us along this journey of life? And it could have been at any point in your life, somebody might have shared some words that made a difference for you.
You're right. There are so many, but I will, and he's no longer here, but a guy named John Alston. I met him when he was first starting out in the speaking business, and he was rough. And I had been speaking a little bit longer than he had, but he was better than me. His content was incredible. And so every time, and he was a friend of mine, I love him to death. And I just knew that every time after spending time together, I know I would leave thinking I could do more, be more, see more. And so I have always thought of him when I think about how do I be better? And he's my motivation to just see things differently. And I think that we all need that in our lives, somebody who makes us think even though we think we know it all. And as a speaker, that's real easy to think you know it all. And I just know after any session with John, I always left going, gosh, I thought I was at the top and now I got to go do some more exploration. So he had a great quote, and I'll just leave you with this. He said, life is a gift, don't trash it. And I would tell you, to all of us, especially during these times, life is a gift, don't trash it.
I love that. Life is a gift, don't trash it. Someone do me a favor, write those words right below the video. Just take a moment. Maybe you're watching on Amazon Fire, or maybe you're watching on Apple TV and you can't do that. Maybe listen to the podcast. I get that. But some of you who are watching live right now, if you happen to be fortunate and you tuned in, you got a hold of this long lost link, look right below the video right now. And what's those words again they should write, Norm?
Life is a gift, don't trash it. Attributed to John Alston, Alston.
I like it. Life is a gift, don't trash it. You know, Norm, as you're speaking now, the question in my mind is, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now? I mean, you know, where does this, well, I guess, yeah, what do you enjoy most about what you're doing now?
I like seeing transformations in any audience or anybody I'm working with. Mm-hmm. As I said, I've got an annual program we're in our 29th year. And a lot of the people on that staff, my staff, have been with me for, one of them, Rick, shout out to you, for 28, 29 years. And I've seen where he was and where he is now. And in any audience, I love seeing where you start. And my goal is always to take you to a better place, a different place, a stronger place, whether it's in a retreat setting with people or in a keynote. It's seeing the transformation take place when you know there's more that you have to give and your talents are more than you can see in front of you. So that's my favorite thing, being in a setting where I can help somebody just shine.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. You know, I've had a chance to, this is the second to last question. I know we're coming down the home stretch, but I've had a chance to be there with you live. We were in Phoenix, Arizona at Debbie Allen's event. And, you know, what I admire most about you is the guy that you're seeing in front of you right now, and I don't get a chance to say this with everyone, is the same person that you're going to see whether it's one person in the room or 1,000 people in the room. He's just that personable of the guy, and that is Norm. One of the few folks that I know that from the stage, you feel like he's talking directly to you. Take a moment, if you would. You've been talking about, you know, living on the cutting edge or being on the cutting edge. Take a moment and talk a little bit about the importance. And I know there's something else you do, and you're such a humble guy, so I just want to pull us out as you come down the home stretch about what you do, helping get interaction and why that's important from a live audience, because that will come back again. You know, we will do that again. But I also want you to, I'm going to challenge you to also talk about how that's different in this virtual world that we're in right now. Because through the power of these fiber optic lines, you and I are connecting right now with so many folks. So two-part question. Number one, talk about a little bit about what you do about getting experience from folks when they're live and why that's important with the energy. And then number two, how that can transfer over to the virtual world. And some of you out there who have virtual summits, some of you out there who do virtual boot camps, some of you out there who are looking for facilitators in this digital space. One of Norm's gifts is, and again, he's very, very mild and very modest, is the ability to be able to facilitate and do many things. So I want him to talk about that, because it might be a guy that's worth you, again, having that conversation with. They can also do what he does on the stage in a virtual setting.
Right.
Talk about that.
I appreciate you bringing that up. I like to call myself an audience alchemist, because I like to take an audience from here to another place. And there's a process that allows that to happen. And so when I'm working with an audience, I know that kind of like driving a car. For those of us who've driven a stick or still have one, a lot of times people want to start off in third gear with the audience, especially if you're the speaker presenter, because you're ready to go. And the audience is just now turning on the engine. And so what I do is I take them through the different gears sequentially so that they are ready to hit that fifth gear or sixth gear and shine and learn as much as they can. And in that process, I engage the audience. I involve them, not lecture. I tell stories, but I have them interact with each other. I make sure that those people who are introverts feel really comfortable and they're respected, their boundaries. And those who are extroverts, they get a chance to shine. And those who learn by seeing get to see, and those who learn by writing. And so I look at the audience and say, how do I make sure I take care of the needs of everybody who's present so they can be present? And then online, the same process takes place, except even though we can't physically touch each other, I can engage an audience just like you can online. I can have you do a contest right now. If I were to play music and say, name that song, and it's a song you grew up with from high school, something by Earth, Wind, and Fire, you would recognize it and it would take you back and create a feeling. I could hold up a picture. Those of you who love animals, that's my wolf back there that I painted. I could talk about wolves. I could show you animal pictures and you would go, oh. I could sit there and show you a list of all the things I haven't done well and why I didn't get into the college I wanted to get into, and show you the list, and you would look and go, I got a list like that too. And so I look at that experience of us being people, and the best way to look at it is to go to Maslow's hierarchy of needs and say, how do we get people to the top? We recognize where they are and then move them. We don't start at the top. We don't start in the middle. We have to start where they are and then take them through different stages and phases. And I do that with different tools, techniques, engagement, words, stories, pictures. And online, you can do the same thing, but you have to script it. And when I script, not because I don't mean you have to follow it word for word. You have to understand where the audience is. And you take them where you know they'll get the most out of this session. Like right now, I know some of you have been up all day and you're still up. And so I know tonight you're going to sleep really well. And for the rest of you, you're going to want to go sit down and think about your life and write down some stuff. And here's what I would leave you with. Text somebody tonight a simple little message that says, I'm thinking of you. That's it. Don't respond when they respond. Just say, I want you to know you're important to me. I was thinking of you. And I guarantee tomorrow you will have a conversation with them. And when that conversation takes place, don't let it be a text. Let it be a phone conversation. And when that's over, you'll be glad you did it. That's the stuff I do. I help people connect, whether they're in a session or online or just walking around. So, I just know that's my gift. And alchemist is the word I like because it means we take something and we add it together and we get this great result.
Man, so. I love it, man. I love it. I just love having the conversation with you. First, before I give you the opportunity to say your closing thoughts, let me just say a couple things. One, everyone connect with Norm. He has a heart to give. He has a heart to serve. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much again for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. You are amazing. You are incredible. We made a phone call and you said, count me in. And he's a man of his word, and he's here today with one mission and one goal only, and that is to be a resource to all of you to help you execute the vision that you have for the people you were called to serve. So again, Norm, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Before I give you a chance to give your closing thoughts, I'm gonna give it to you to give your final thoughts. For everyone out there right now, as he gives his closing thoughts, hit the share button one more time. If you hit it before, hit it again. Hit the watch party button. Pay this message forward. Change another little girl life, another big girl life. Make a big boy's life. Make a difference for someone else in the world. That is your digital applause. That's your digital applause. Now, you can, if you want, you can look below the video and put, thank you, Norm. We appreciate you, Norm. Share your big takeaway. because your big takeaway from Norm could be someone else's big breakthrough. So write that down right below. Norm is tuned in right now, but he'll go back, he'll look through the feed, and he'll see the comments. Right now, he's present with you. He's here with you right now, just you and I. So Norm, again, thank you so much. I want to turn over you, man, to have your final thoughts. And ladies and gentlemen, he's agreed to give his final thoughts. Isn't that pretty cool? But before you do that, make sure you tell him once again how to best connect with you, man. And again, thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show, man. We got to have you back. We appreciate you, bro.
Sure, I appreciate you. Best way is at my email. You can just send me a note. norm@normhull.com. So that's Norm at my name, Norm, HULL.com. Best way to get a hold of me. Second thing is, Che, thank you so much for inviting me, because I said I'm an alchemist, and you are too. You may not see yourself that way, but this platform you have where entrepreneurs can reach out and hear other people's stories and get resources and learn lessons that they don't have to repeat sometimes. What you're doing is helping them reach their dream. And so I would tell you, as much as I am an audience alchemist, you're an online alchemist, because you help people get to where they need to go so they can have a bigger impact. And my last thought, or my message would be to all of you, is that we are all alchemists. We all have the opportunity to have an impact on other people, whether it's at work or our neighbors. There are people who go to the end of the street and play music every night so that they get to know their neighbors. I don't know if it still goes on, but in New York, that at 7 o'clock at night, people would come out and say thank you to the first responders. Those of you who are doing a traditional job, you have an opportunity to make somebody's day or ruin it based on the way you interact with them. Those of you who have friends, all you have to do is listen, and they feel better when they are done talking. You see, we all get to be alchemists in other people's lives. And we don't have to be a guru. We don't have to be a speaker. We just have to be somebody who recognizes that ultimately, when the end comes, we want people to think of us fondly, not just that they got a great deal with our services and our products, but we were a good person. And I know no matter what I try to do, I always try to be a good person, even in bad situations. And I don't always do it, but I'm going from bitter to better and trying to make someone else who's bitter a little bit better as well. And so thanks for giving me this platform or sharing it with me. And I hope you all will go out there and be alchemists for other people and help things get better, not just in your business, but in the world and the country we love.
Well, thank you so much. I want you to know, Norm, we appreciate you. For every single one of you, thank you so much for watching the Happy Entrepreneur Show. I want you to know that you are amazing, that you are incredible, that you're already a winner, because only winners are tuned in. Only winners are listening right now. And I want you to know, for you, the best is still yet to come, because you can be on the cutting edge. For you, the best is still yet to come. Why? Because you're already sharp in a world that is what? Already sharp. And for you, today is your January 1st. You could be an alchemist for someone else. It's not about you. It's about them. With that being said, for all those out there who want to know who's doing all that screaming, who's doing all that yelling, well, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. Remember, time is long. Life, well, it's short. So you got to live in the moment and make it count. God bless, and I wish every single one of you success. Hit the share button, hit the like button. Let's stay connected. Norm, thanks a lot, my brother. You rock. Peace. We out of here, everyone. We'll see you again soon. You guys rock. So much fun. I love it. I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right,
Check.
Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what.
Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there. And they stay there. Cause all I do is win.
Yeah.
Thank you, God bless.